Why isn't the Ikigai diet a vegetarian diet? That's something I'm going to talk about today, so stick around. Hi, my name is Sachiaki Takamiya. I am the author of the Ikigai Diet and the founder of this diet. Okay, so today I'd like to talk about the Ikigai diet and the vegetarianism. Right, okay, so why isn't the Ikigai diet a vegetarian diet? Well, actually, the Ikigai diet isn't necessarily a vegetarian diet or not. Yeah, we don't set any rule. So you can be a vegetarian and still practice the Ikigai diet, or you can even be a vegan and still practice the Ikigai diet. So there's no rule. I mean, you can choose whatever you like. You can choose to be a vegetarian, or you can choose to eat meat too, right? So the question is, why doesn't the Ikigai diet set the rule to be a vegetarian? Right, okay. So first of all, I support all arguments about vegetarianism. So I have nothing against it. Yeah, for example, the ethical factor, the animal rights point of view. I know people who just don't like the idea of killing animal in whatever the way it is, and I understand it. Yeah, so I support that ethical factor and the environmental factor too, how the meat production affect the climate change and so on. Yeah, it is more the question of doability, really. I mean, the bottom line is the doability, whether it is easy for many people to stop eating meat completely or not. Yeah, I mean, some people can. I know a lot of people who are vegetarian or vegan, and I respect those people. I admire their effort and their discipline. Yeah, it's such a wonderful thing to be able to control your desire and not eat meat or animal products at all. Yeah, you're sticking to your principle, and that's a fantastic thing. Yeah, so if you can do it, if it's not difficult for you to do it, yeah, I mean, by all means, yeah, please go ahead. And I mean, I have nothing against it, right? However, yeah, it is still difficult for many people to completely becoming a vegetarian or vegan. Yeah, well, one thing is about your will, but it's not about your will either, because it affects your social life, it affects your nutrition, it affects so many things. Like, for example, I mean, I used to be a vegetarian, so I know how it is, right? So when you go out, when you go to a restaurant and there are often no dish in the menu which doesn't have any animal product, and you have to say, oh, can you make this without using meat? Or sometimes you cannot even go to that restaurant. Yeah, you all have to be selective. When you go out, you say, oh, I cannot go to that restaurant. I have to go to this restaurant and so on. And on your own, it's okay. But if you are going out with a group of friends, sometimes it's difficult to socialize. Or when you go to other people's houses too, and they, offer a meal which includes some meat, and then you cannot eat it, and you have to tell them, oh, I'm a vegetarian and I can't eat and stuff like that. I actually did find it difficult to do it. Yeah, or even cooking at home. Like, for example, in Japan, we use something called dashi, which is like a broth, yeah, to make the flavor in your cooking, right? Often dashi is fish-based, yeah. But if you're vegetarian, you cannot use that. It's a very small amount and small percentage of your meal, but if you're vegetarian, if it contains even just a little bit of or animal product or fish, you cannot use it. Yeah, I found that very inconvenient, really. Yeah, so I decided not to think everything in terms of 0 or 100. Yeah, so I still like the idea of reducing the animal product in general. Yeah, but not, not eating meat completely is difficult. Yeah, for me and for many people, right? So I want to create a slightly easier option for people who find it difficult to stop eating meat completely. Yeah. So, and I told you about the nutritional aspect. Yeah, it is true that if you are a vegetarian and if you're vegan, especially, yeah, it is very difficult to have a nutritionally balanced diet. Yeah, I know it isn't impossible. I mean, some people manage to do it, but a lot of people cannot, and they end up being nutritionally deficient. Yeah. For example, things like omega-3 fatty acid. Yeah. If you eat fish, it's so much easier, so much more effective to absorb that nutrient. I mean, you can get it from plant-based source, but the amount is very small, and the fish is very efficient way of absorbing omega-3 fatty acid. And you need omega-3 fatty acid. So that kind of thing. I mean, it's not impossible, but it becomes difficult. In other words, it becomes easier, yeah, if you include animal products in your diet, right? So I incorporated a system called Hare and Ke, which is a Japanese concept. Hare means festival and celebrations. Ke means usual. So we make a distinction between Hare period and Ke period. So usually it is a Ke period. So we have simple frugal meals. But at the time of festivals or celebrations, we set it's a Hare period and we have feast. Yeah, and we use different kind of bowls, different kind of plates for Hare period too, right? So I apply this concept into regular diet. So making the weekdays to be Ke, where you can have a simple plant-based diet, and the weekend to be Hare, and you can include animal products. This way, it's not too difficult, yeah, because you just need to be disciplined, yeah, 5 days a week. But on the weekend, you can relax, yeah. But having this time of break period makes it so much easier for many people to continue that diet. Therefore, I think this is sustainable, right? And this method has another benefit. That is, because you're limiting your meat consumption only to the weekend, you can afford slightly more expensive meat, yeah, such as grass-fed beef or free-range chicken. Yeah, so you can avoid factory farmed meat as much as possible by limiting your meat consumption only on the weekend, right? Now, some people are against the idea of eating meat which are not factory farmed. Yeah, and I understand it too. I mean, some people just don't like the idea of killing animals in whatever the way it is. And I understand it too, yeah. But, you know, it's a question of how far do you want to go with it, yeah? So there was a traditional pastoral farming which was done for many centuries, yeah? And some countries, I mean, certain climate, yeah, it is very suitable because you cannot, your land is not, suitable for just only producing crops and vegetables. It was easy to raise, cattle and sheep and so on, like, such as England, for example. And so if you do not include traditional pastoral, not factory farming, but traditional pastoral farming, how do you produce food? Yeah, because it's not only eating meat or not. Yeah, when you practice pastoral farming, you can have a cow manure. yeah, or compost, yeah, and that can become important fertilizer for your vegetables and crops. Yeah, I know there are plant-based fertilizers too, because in Japan, many people practice natural farming, and natural farming doesn't use any animal-based fertilizer. So there are ways to do it, but it's not easy. It is difficult. Yeah, I mean, regular organic farming is much easier than natural farming when you're talking about the practicality. Yeah, so if you say, oh, okay, you're not allowed to use any animal fertilizers, you're not allowed to, raise animals and so on, then it makes difficult for many farmers to do their farming, right? And so in that case, who are going to produce food? Yeah, you need to think about farmers too. Which way is doable for them? Not only the consumers, but the farmers, which way is doable for them to do their farming. And you don't want to make things too strict. You need to allow people to use some ways. Otherwise, it will be impossible to produce food and so on, right? So in the East, in Japan and in Asia in general, we have this concept of yin and yang, which is slightly different from the Western concept of black and white. So we don't divide everything just black and white, whether one thing is absolutely good and absolutely evil. There's a gray zone, gray area, because yin and yang neither is bad or good. It's just different quality. And what is important is not to be in the extreme, to keep the balance of the two. Yeah. So when we talk about ethics too, we don't have this linear thinking of whether it is right or wrong. Yeah. Or not at least not 100% right and 100% wrong. Yeah. There's nothing is 100% right, because you need to think things holistically. There's so many factors which are involved in one area. Yeah, not only, so the thing is, when you look at only one single issue, such as vegetarianism, yeah, sometimes you forget about other factors and sort of lose the holistic way of looking at things. Yeah. I gave an example of farming, right? When you stop eating meat, it affects your organic farming too. So how are you going to do it? Yeah. So bottom line here is we are fighting against the factory farming. That is the majority of meat production done through factory farming. And that's something you don't want to do it, right? So instead of picking a small percentage of people who practice a traditional pastoral farming, maybe you can focus on the bigger, the bigger corporate style farming, and then so this kind of division can only benefit big corporations, because they like division. They like, people are not united. And so instead of just focusing on small issues, maybe it is better to see a bigger picture, right? So that is why, yeah. But anyway, it doesn't mean I deny vegetarianism or veganism. I mean, if people choose to live that way, I support it 100%, and I respect them, and I admire their discipline. Yeah. So yeah, basically, whichever is okay, whatever you feel comfortable, what best for you, you can choose. It's the stance that the Ikigai Diet stands. Right. Okay, thank you for watching. Again, my name is Sachiaki Takamiya, the author of the Ikigai Diet. If you're interested in the optimal way of activating autophagy and the optimal way of feeding your diverse gut microbiomes, please read the book. And if you like this video, please give me your thumb up and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Live with your Ikigai.